Today I am in Belmont, Wisconsin, and it's kind of the southwest corner of the state. And we're here checking out this small town that was the first capital of the Wisconsin Territory way back in 1836. So even before it was a state, and so it's often referred to as Wisconsin's first capital. So we'll learn more about that original capital area, and as we go through this video. But first, let's start in here at the downtown area. I'm in kind of the park at the bottom of the hill, where the railroad probably used to go through. So we'll start here, and we'll walk up the hill through the downtown area and learn about the history of Belmont, Wisconsin. As we start our trek up the hill here in Belmont, I can tell you that it is located in Lafayette County. As I mentioned earlier, it's in the southwest part of Wisconsin, and Belmont is in the northwestern part of the county. It's the fifth largest town in Lafayette County. So it was founded about 3 miles north of here in 1835, and it was named for the French version of Beautiful Mountain because there were 3 significant hills in the area. And in 1836, that area north of here was named the first capital of the Wisconsin Territory. And at that time, about 22,000 people lived in the Wisconsin Territory. It was the capital for 46 days until it was moved to Madison. And then Madison was named the capital after that. And so for 30 years, it was in that location north of town. And over those 30 years, it got smaller and smaller. Obviously, when it wasn't the capital anymore, people decided to, over time, move away. And then in 1867, they moved over here to the current location to be on the railroad. In 1894, they officially incorporated the town of Belmont. As you look at the population figures, the population was pretty steady all the way until about 1950, and then increased pretty significantly for a town of that size all the way until today. Probably coincided with the highway that passes near town, and so the population has more than doubled since 1950 and is all the way up to 989 today. It's definitely an interesting place to visit. And before we go to the historical town from the 1830s, let's check out the rest of Belmont, Wisconsin.
You know, a lot of small towns this size don't have the history of a place like Belmont. And with less than 1,000 people, there's a lot to see here. And you've seen how the population has actually grown. And with it not being the county seat, that's kind of unusual. Most towns of this size are gonna get smaller, especially over, you know, the long period that it's been a town. But they've done a great job. There's, I'm in a nice park here. There's multiple parks. There's, you know, a nice community. They have a lot of pride in their schools. They have a downtown area with some old buildings. They don't have a ton of old buildings, but they kind of make up for it with the history. We're about 2 miles north of the current town of Belmont, and this is where originally Belmont was, and they had the first capital. This is the site. They have some nice signs, and they actually have a couple buildings across the way, and those were the buildings that were erected for the first capital meetings of the Wisconsin Territory. The Wisconsin Territory was more than just Wisconsin. It was Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, and part of the Dakotas, or, you know, at least what present day those areas were, and it was all called the Wisconsin Territory. And they needed somewhere to meet to try to organize the territory, and in 1836 this is where they decided to meet. There was some, I don't know, controversy as to why here. It was not a booming metropolis by any stretch of the imagination. And there were, I think, maybe a friendship between the owner of the site here and the leaders of the political parties, and so they decided to have it here. And they had it here they had the first sessions here, and that lasted a couple months. And then they were, you know, creating the laws for the future of the Wisconsin Territory, and then what eventually became the state of Wisconsin in 1848. That's when they gained statehood. So very historic place. They came back here in 1998 and had a session at the sesquicentennial of the statehood here in Wisconsin in 1998. And so the governor came here and they had a session, so in the old buildings. That's a pretty cool deal to have here. So yeah, very historic place. It's cool that, you know, they had originally moved these buildings, but they moved them back here and made a park out of it. And very, very cool and beautiful place to visit. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of that video. And now that you're here, let me tell you a little bit about some of the extras that we have on the channel. One of the things you can do is you can become a member. There's 3 levels. There's the supporter level, there's the producer level, and the executive producer level. And all 3 levels have different perks, and as you are more supportive financially, there's more perks. We have extra videos every week and a lot of fun stuff going on in the member section. If you haven't done so, make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. We've got lots of extra stuff on there, and one of the things is merchandise. You can get you Travel with a Wise Guy t-shirt. We have Death Go Round t-shirts. We have some coffee mugs, different things that are a lot of fun, and people seem to have enjoyed. Good quality there. Also on the website, you can do things like check out the Google map. I have a pin dropped in every place I've done videos about, then a link to the video so you can look at the map, and maybe there's somewhere where you live or somewhere you want to go. You can check out that map, and it seemed to be a very popular thing. You can sign up for my newsletter. I do that about every 3 weeks. It's totally free. And there's also all kinds of other links and tidbits in there, old videos, podcasts, just everything I could think of I throw on the website. So make sure you check out travelwithawiseguy.com. Thank you for everyone who has been supportive of this channel, and thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. And now for the reason you're probably here, the outtakes. Today I am in Belmont, Wisconsin, kind of in the southwestern part of the state, and I'm checking out the town of Belmont, and that was bad. You know, a lot of small towns this size don't have the history of a place like Belmont being like a capital of the territory of Wisconsin. So here's a plane. Dang plane. Hate that. The weight of that looks like it would just fall at any moment. Right on top of my head.